Previously.
2 minutes of previously awning that will do very little to help anyone who hasn't seen Dexter or Dexter New Blood understand much of what's happening in this episode.
We're losing him. Defib on my count.
The title character is not going to die a couple of minutes into a show with the word resurrection in its title. So far, the only thing that's been killed here is the tension.
A beating heart.
Showtime tells us the only requirement it has for continually milking this franchise. Also, roll commercials.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
And thus began the cavalcade of past associates psychoanalyzing Dexter from beyond the grave's position. But also, Arthur, Miguel, Harry, and Dokes all had a role in making the original series the hit it was, and they deserve a send-off for it.
You think Harrison's my fault? That I'm the bad guy?
Dexter doesn't answer his hallucination with, yes, because on the list of deaths attributed to you, even if you're not the bad guy, you're definitely a bad guy.
Where you went wrong was thinking you could have it all.
Rolling in the deep. Are gonna fall. Rolling in the deep. Cliche.
Like our Savior, sometimes you have to go through hell to achieve resurrection. Not that we're anything like the good Lord.
If you're nothing like the good Lord, why even bring it up? Evidently, a side effect of becoming the ghost of serial killers past is being bad at analogies. This AirPods commercial is boring.
Good morning. Hey, Harrison. Morning, Claude.
Harrison will go around greeting everyone with a good morning, even though all the context clues of the bright, blinding light coming through the windows when he woke up at 3, his manager reprimanding him at 4, and the city being bathed in ambient light during that hour all suggest this is the afternoon. Also, working with raw food and touching someone else's hand. It's unsanitary for them and for the dining guests.
Jorge, what's good? Only vegetarian burritos left.
In the 10 weeks since he tried to kill his dad, Harrison has befriended the entirety of the hotel staff, scammed free lodging and food, and even gotten his GED in the process. Are we sure he's the progeny of Dexter Morgan and not Jackie Daytona?
Daniel, I got that one.
Daniel. Chekhov's trash bag tying. New York City has trash bins now, and even if it didn't at the time of filming, this really disrupts the 2025 continuity. I don't see how anyone could possibly enjoy the show now.
My shift starts at 4.
And what do we say here at the Empire Hotel?
On time is late.
Discount Captain Pike's haircut, juicing little drops of free labor from the market. Also, the Empire Hotel is a real hotel and thought it was a good idea to lend its name to a show about serial killers. Other than a not-so-subtle need for the plot to remind us who Harrison is, I'm not sure what it is about riding in an elevator that would trigger his vision of trying to kill his father in the woods.
I'm lost. Can you help me find the topics in emergency care conference?
Shauna's looking for a conference on the 7th floor, among the hotel's guest rooms, not because that makes sense, but because the plot needed it to be that way.
Is this your first time in New York?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna hate it, coming from Iowa and all, but I really love it.
Person from the Midwest who's never been to a big city, blah, 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 blah.
You are so lucky that you live in New York. It feels like you can be anybody you want to be here.
Blah, blah, blah.
Come to say goodbye.
There's no clause in the code where it says you can just give up and die.
Yeah, but there's also nothing in the code that says you can't just give up and die. Starting to think Harry is making up this so-called code as he goes along.
I was never there for Harrison. He made it pretty clear out there in the woods he's not like me.
Well, he did shoot you point blank with a rifle when you asked him to, so at least give him credit for putting in the effort.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Surprise, motherfucker.
Episode thinks it deserves a standing ovation for acknowledging that the internet is a place and that memes are a thing. But this premature surprise motherfuckeration is the weakest way they could have used this line in Cameo, and they blew it less than 15 minutes into the first episode.
And isn't there some rule about these things ending after the third ghost?
In Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Scrooge was, in fact, visited by 4 ghosts. So, no.
You were right about me all along.
No, I was wrong.
No, you were right. Also, Dexter's brain has been manifesting ghosts to rationalize himself into thinking he's the hero of the story for all the I'm already scrolling on my phone vaguely listening to this show in the background amounts of some time.
Buried down deep, real deep, past all that f***ed up Bay Harbor butcher is a kernel of good.
You could say the same thing about Stalin or Mussolini. Running the trains on time does not a sympathetic character make. Episode will completely let this bartender off the hook.
It's not my problem.
You're right. It's a problem for the police, whom you are still not calling for narrative reasons.
There's plenty more where she came from. There's always more.
This whole franchise was built on the idea that more often than not, a person will always say the one thing that guarantees they get murdered. Ryan might as well have said, "What are you going to do? Bludgeon me to death with a toilet cover?" and then winked at the camera. Dramatic flashback is used as a trigger for extreme violence. Cliche. Sure, not a single person calls the front desk to report the sounds of a no-holds-barred death match, but when I'm doing Werner Herzog impressions at 3 a.m., it's a problem. Apple really wants me to never look at a person wearing AirPods without considering them a murder suspect ever again. Harrison was still on duty when he saw Shauna and Ryan at the bar. Yet somehow he manages to go to Ryan's room, kill Ryan, return Shauna to her room, gather cleaning supplies, and spend what must be hours cleaning up the crime scene and dismembering Ryan's body, all without anyone, including his hard-ass on-time as late boss, noticing he's gone. Also, I simply will not suspend my disbelief of him being able to chop up a body in the hotel kitchen without getting caught. It's 3 a.m. and I'm thinking the episode has forgotten about Harrison babysitting.
Am I still watching your little man tonight?
This brings me great despair. Harrison took the time to carefully clean his fingerprints from the parts of the trash bags that he had touched. Then he immediately puts 10 times as many fingerprints back onto the bags when he throws them on the pile with his bare hands.
No friends, no family. Been on life support the last 2 weeks.
And no signed HIPAA privacy forms, apparently.
She was even more sorry about shooting you. She felt like shit.
By admitting this to Teddy, Angela basically confessed to shooting an innocent man and putting him in a coma for 10 weeks. But I guess since she felt like shit about it, they carried on as if that wasn't a crime.
Do you want to press charges against the Iron Lake Sheriff's Department for Chief Angela Bishop shooting you?
No, that's okay. It was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, but if Angela told Teddy that she accidentally shot an innocent man, Dexter doesn't have to press charges for the state to prosecute Angela based on her confession. Rear-loading garbage trucks like these have a hydraulic tipper just like a dump truck. But these guys are unloading the trash by hand for reasons. Also, they seem to be dumping the trash out onto a random pier in Brooklyn, and I'd feel comfortable sending this even if it happens to be an accurate depiction of how the New York City Department of Sanitation operates.
Claudette, you really should be nicer to the unis.
Why would I encourage that incompetence?
Detective is incredibly abrasive and has no people skills, but people put up with it because they're astute and get the job done with the clinical efficiency of a discount Sherlock Holmes. Cliché.
I'm going to get to work.
Detective Wallace hasn't heard that on time is late. Also, no one seems to be able to get anything done in this show without using an Apple product. Also, this BG staying alive needle drop while the detective is rooting through garbage for body parts is just silly.
Victim wasn't robbed. Expensive ring still on his finger.
Ruling out the possibility that he was just robbed badly.
Never in my life have I worked so hard to get so nowhere so fast.
Millennials.
Please let this be another hallucination.
It's not, but you'll still have a conversation filled with over a decade's worth of backstory and context that will leave new watchers sitting there scratching their heads.
But why Jim Lindsay? Faking your death.
While faking your death isn't inherently illegal, certain aspects of it are, like fraud, using a fake ID, and the associated tax evasion. So if he really wanted to, he could bring Dexter in for that. Is it perfect? No. But it's how they got Capone. Take the easy win, Batista.
I needed a new start. My life had become such hell. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes at least as much sense as being able to work directly with the police for years without most of them ever discovering you're a serial killer.
Hell of a mistake. Shooting your boyfriend because you think he's a serial killer.
Still better than shooting at him because he cheated on you in a dream. As a completely random example that did not happen to anyone I know and is definitely not pending litigation. Also, Batista's concern that Dexter might be the Bay Harbor butcher highlights the fact that nobody seems the least bit concerned that Angela has gotten away scot-free after almost killing a man she now says is innocent.
Maria La Guetta. You remember Maria?
Of course I do.
And those of you in the audience who don't remember, f*** you.
Maria told me in confidence that she was certain that you were the Bay Harbor butcher.
Originally, Dexter was set up as an extremely smart and tactical killer, making that the prime reason he never got caught. But the longer his story gets, the more it seems that his freedom is only really due to the fact that no one shares their suspicions with the proper authorities, or even goes through the proper channels, or thinks to do any of the things that might prevent a cover-up.
It's been fun traveling down memory lane with you, buddy.
Thus concludes another spoken word previously on.
After your shipwreck, I was the one that filled out your death certificate. When I heard you were alive, thought it fitting that Dexter Morgan be legally resurrected.
To reverse being declared dead in Florida, you need significant proof of life with all sorts of documentation, a medical examination, and probably in this case even a court order. Regardless of whether he was the one who filled out the death certificate, Batista could not have had Dexter declared no longer dead without more proof than hearing he is alive somewhere in upstate New York. Also, even if all it takes is a turns out Dexter's not dead, my bad, I fail to see how that wouldn't trigger more of an investigation than Batista showing up with a hefty amount of suspicion and Cuban sandwiches. Harrison skipped the chapter in Dexter's serial killer training about not returning to stare absently at the scene of the crime.
Not exactly the kind of sound you want to hear when you're in a hospital bed.
And not the kind of sound you would hear if it were your heart monitor making it.
I heard something horrible on the news.
Secondhand news position.
They found the body parts cut up into 9 pieces. Can you imagine?
As a society, could we normalize using our imaginations to imagine things that are uncomfortable but still perfectly imaginable?
No offense. Serial killers always seem to be white men.
Thinking white men can't be one-hit wonders. This news site uses sentence case for some of its headlines and title case for others. Associated Press or Chicago Manual. Pick a style book, people.
And if it is Harrison, he could be in real trouble. The NYPD is no joke.
As opposed to all the other police departments in major metropolitan areas that are absolutely in it for the laughs.
If they've already discovered the body, there's no telling what other mistakes Harrison might have made.
Do you mean a mistake like talking out loud to himself about a murder when half of the people who have come to see him have been cops? That kind of mistake? Because, yeah, it would be really bad if he were to do that. Convenient box of personal effects containing car keys and a registration that is still in the room 6 hours after the patient it belonged to is dead is convenient. Dexter doesn't stop to appreciate the uncanny similarity of this situation with that of Uma Thurman finding the wagon in Kill Bill.
Sorry, he's still in the shower.
It's been 45 minutes.
I appreciate anyone who respects the glory of a long shower. However, this is a hospital setting, and you absolutely should be checking to see if the patient is dead. Can't play it, but the episode has been giving us this red right-hand job by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, only to reveal that this is not Thomas Shelby. It's not that I'm not entertained by watching Uma Thurman remodel a bathroom. No, wait, it is. Episode establishes that Dexter has made it to the big city for all of the sometime.
My son, I could cry. Actually, I can't cry. Damn it.
I'm not dead yet, unfortunately, for you.
Sometimes people fake being in a coma. This man's not. Unless, of course, the first punch knocked him out.
You're very pushable.
Watching you fall over and over again.
My shift starts at 4.
And what do we say here at the Empire Hotel?
A wizard is never late.
Buried down deep, real deep, past all that f***ed up Bay Harbor butcher is a
Surprise, motherfucker.
I'm just walking.
Yeah, and you suck at it.
And don't send a wimpy bag to do a hefty job.
What's that?
His name is
My son, I could cry. Actually, I can't cry.
Well, I'm saying I built up a shell around myself. A cold, calculated, heartless shell.